The Executive Committee has taken stock of the state of the nation and is saddened to note that the country is not in a good condition, akin to a patient who is in intensive care unit, ICU. The persistent refusal by the current political leaders to reconstitute the IEBC is a major insult to the people of Kenya and an attack on who we are as a nation. We ask the citizens of Kenya not to give your elected leaders and their appointees peace until they heed to the demand for urgent recruitment of IEBC commissioners as provided for in the Constitution of Kenya 2010. We urge you to raise your voices to demand that the judiciary concludes the cases touching on IEBC within the next 2 weeks. We must get back our democracy. They have become spanner boys and girls carrying out the work of the executive. Instead of oversighting the executive, they are cheerleaders in oppressing the people. Instead of speaking for the people, they are making oppressive laws. This state is unsustainable and unacceptable at the same time. We encourage you, Kenyans, as voters, to collect signatures and commence the processes of recalling the members of parliament who are not performing as per your requirements and demands. And as electorates, you are the employer, not the employee, not the servant of the members of parliament and other elected leaders. As citizens, do not remain silent. Take every opportunity to demand that the implementation of SHA or SHIF is suspended until all the necessary structures are put in place. The healthcare of Kenyans must not be sacrificed just so that a few people can steal public funds. Further, we need to hold our members of parliament to account for hurriedly passing the bills in parliament which instituted SHIF while knowing very well and fully clearly well that it was going to cause suffering in the nation of Kenya.
Corruption is the biggest threat to national security and most destructive pandemic affecting Kenya. It is very unfortunate that every arm of the government, executive, legislature, and judiciary, and even the independent commissions have been associated with corruption. It is our conviction that only we, as the people of Kenya, can stop corruption. Let us end the culture of celebrating the corrupt and start shaming them instead. Let us build a culture of supporting and electing persons who manifest integrity. Encourage all of us as Kenyans to reject contributions by political leaders and their appointees, knowing that most of the money given is stolen taxes. We must stop celebrating whenever the president, members of parliament, governors, members of county assembly, and other political actors donate money whose sources are not clear.
And we are asking Kenyans to demand that the IEBC be reconstituted as a matter of urgency. We all know that the disbanding of the IEBC was partly done by the current government when they removed 4 of the commissioners and the others retired. And now it is more than a year, I think about 20 or 22 months since that time. IEBC is a national asset and is a national security matter. A country such as Kenya, with a young democracy, should not exist without a fully functioning IEBC. The NCCK and the church, in calling for the political parties who have been squabbling over who sits in the panel to complete that process, and for the judiciary, which hosts the tribunal, the political party tribunal, to finish their work, render the judgment, and so that the panel can be in place to put together the IEBC commission. We have given two weeks, and once the 2 weeks are over, the National Council of Churches will announce the other actions that we shall take.
And what happened in Bugama was unfortunate because it was like a display of trying to see what will the Anglican do following what the decision made by the Catholics. All I can say is that bishops run dioceses with a high level of autonomy, and individual decision by bishops, we leave to them to make their decisions. But our guidelines is that anyone who bring any donation to the church should not be allowed to be a kind of a promotion of self by announcing. People can come and give their tithes as tithes without any mention, and we have no problem with that. But the problem is when it is used for announcements and promotion of one name or another name. But as a church, we will continue. You make a policy, and it will always take time for the policy to be fully implemented in every congregation, in every place. But the guidelines of the Anglican Church are very clear that the church and the pulpit is for propagation of the gospel and not for political expediency.
We ask the pastors not to be intimidated. Just like the prophets of old, those who are guilty, they fear even their own shadow. We ask pastors wherever they are to speak boldly and to preach freely and to prophesy when God has placed a message on them without fear or favor. We are also calling on the officers of the government who are intimidating church leaders to cease and desist from intimidating or attempting to abduct or arrest the pastors.